Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, we cut through the hype and the noise, and we give you the non-biased information you can use to make informed decisions. Guys, one thing I see in my research every day, things that are starting to change, is before, like a year ago, when we heard a new announcement, whether it's a Visa or a BlackRock or whoever is moving into Web3 and crypto, we kind of had to make an educated guess and kind of link the dots together to figure out which projects will be used and which one will get that amount of adoption. Well, now, guys, when we hear these big announcements, because these big enterprises and the banks and the governments are further down the road with their roadmap, if you want to spend the time to go straight to the source, you can figure out exactly which blockchains are going to benefit from that partnership and who's not going to benefit. And I see it every day, guys, because once I do a deep dive, like, and I'm not going to talk about it, but Visa just made that big announcement. Well, when I did my deep dive, guys, there's about 8 blockchains that are going to get a piece of that pie. However, if you surf around and after I surf around and get more information, I see people and read articles that flat out are still speculating, and they're 100% wrong, because all you got to do is go straight to the source and spend a little bit more time, and you'll realize that it's not speculation of who's starting to dominate. And I'm here to tell you guys, and I can back every bit of it up, Hedera is starting to dominate almost every sector. They are definitely moving into tokenized assets in a big way. And guys, see, there's a lot of competition, unlimited amount of competition. It's like payments. Hedera is starting to dominate the future of payments, not necessarily for the payment, but for the mechanism like time stamping and proof of assets or proof of funds mechanism. And it's really exciting to see. And guys, that's not a guess anymore. It's being implemented. If you go straight from the source, you'll start to see that, and it's really exciting. And when it comes to tokenized assets, which is what we're going to talk about in this video, is for the most part, guys, the majority of everything on the planet is going to become a token, and it's going to be trackable, and it's going to be investable, and all that. Well, right now, the big narrative is ESG and basically tokenizing your carbon footprints and being able to track it and all that. Well, again, Hedera is on the cutting edge, and they are starting to dominate that sector. They're definitely way up out front, and there's not a lot of competition. But the cool thing about Hedera, guys, is that when you hear partnership with whatever corporation and Hedera, they have to buy the HBAR token, and that's not the case with all the projects out there, especially projects that are owned by corporations. Now, another cool thing about it is because of Hedera's governing council, they are powerhouses and leaders in Web3 and in all, pretty much across the world. And they are pioneering a lot of these cutting edge blockchain technology applications, right? So, and they're testing them and they're starting to scale them. Well, who do you think is going to follow? Everyone. When IBM comes out with a carbon emissions tracker or whatever it is, and they give it to all their customers and that starts to work, that's going to become the standard. And a lot of standards are going to start at Hedera. I truly believe that because I see it, just like the one I'm going to share with you today. Now, if you stay with me, guys, we're going to talk about this good news and this tokenization of assets sector right here that has to do with ESG, which is massive. It is definitely the future. I don't like it necessarily, but it is going to be part of the future. And the tracking application is going to be immense. And we're going to talk about that. And then, guys, we're going to talk about 3 other projects, smaller projects, higher risk reward being built on the Hedera ecosystem that you might want to put on your radar to at least follow along. I don't know if you want to invest, but we're going to take a brief look at those projects. Just want to bring them to your attention because the upside could be immense. We'll take a look at their charts and we'll take it from there. That being said, guys, hit that like button and let's get into Hedera. I just watched a podcast and they were talking about the future of like ESG and carbon footprints and everything like that. Well, I don't know if you've ever worked for a government or a big corporation, but guys, no matter what you do for a corporation, you got to document everything. I used to be in outside sales and for a Fortune 100 corporation, and it literally was a full-time job to document my so-called full-time job. Well, imagine what it's going to be like for the governments and the major corporations with all these regulations to document their ESG, footprint, right? They're going to have to document everything, and then they're going to have to offset their carbon footprint and track that and pay accordingly. Well, guys, Hedera is on the cutting edge of that, and they have the first and the front runner, in my opinion, of basically a carbon footprint ledger that all these major corporations are working together on because they know they're going to have it in their future. And Hedera is leading that charge. And now I've got two projects that are starting to front run the ESG future tracking, carbon emissions, and all that. And one is a major player, and the other one is a small one project that I want to bring to your attention. That being said, this is called Guardian.
The Hedera Guardian is the first open source solution enabling developers to create trustworthy environmental assets. It's time to bring the balance sheet of the planet to the public ledger. Join the world-class organizations building a carbon-negative ecosystem on Hedera. What future will you build?
Guys, the cool thing about Hedera is a lot of these Fortune 100 corporations that are on the governing council, there's certain projects they're working together like this one, and they're sharing their knowledge. It's really cool to see because they know it's the future. And think about it, guys, what it costs to be able to set up one of these projects. And if you can group it together and then clone whoever launches a project or just use their project, that's going to save you a lot of time and money. And it's not necessarily about saving money, or it's not necessarily about making money, it's about just time and saving money. Now, check this out, guys. I don't know if you're familiar with the term ReFi, but it's Regenerative Finance. And it's basically a set of tools and ideas built on top of blockchains that aims to create economies which are regenerative rather than extractive or exploitative. So basically, guys, what the future is, whether you build a car or cook pizzas, they are going to basically say, hey, where'd you source that food, right? Where'd you source that part? What damage did you do to the earth? And they're going to want you to basically pay for all that, right? And you're going to have a score, and you're going to have to track it, or they're going to fine you. And then if you go a different route, it's all about control, unfortunately, but if you go a different route or maybe had a different partner or used a different paint or a different, resource, well, they're going to make you pay heavily for that. And the way they're going to do that is through blockchain. That's how they're going to track all this information. Guys, it's endless. It's going to explode. Think about this. Hedera is already at 20 billion transactions. Guys, that is the blockchain that has proven itself to enterprise that it can scale. And it has one of the best business models for payments on the planet. That's how they set it up. They cater to enterprises. And so they have a very unique role in Web3. Now, here's the pretty much big announcement. One of their governing council members is ServiceNow. Well, ServiceNow owns Envision Blockchain. Now, it's not a blockchain. I wish it was that we can invest in, but it basically has a countless amount of services for enterprise to help them move into the future. Well, they just launched enterprise tokenization, and that's to tokenize like your carbon credits, your carbon footprint, and all the things that come with that. You've got to track everything. Well, that's going to become a token. And for instance, this is just an example. And if you want more information, guys, go to envisionblockchain.com, surf around and go to Guardian at Hedera, and you'll get a wealth of information. But long story short, guys, everything you're going to have to answer to. And companies like this, and this is a major player, are bringing it to the masses. And guess who they're using, guys? Well, they started off with R3 Corridor. They used their ledger, not XDC. Wish that was true, but it's their R3 Corridor ledger. They use IBM's ledger, and they use Ethereum in a big way. The Enterprise Ethereum Alliance is a partner with Envision Blockchain. Well, guess who they just brought on board through Guardian and Hedera? Well, it is HBAR. So now they are bringing not only HBAR into their major operation, guys, they're spreading it around the world. They're bringing all these applications to their customers. This is a big deal. And this is the second massive tokenization of assets project that's being built on Hedera. And they use HBAR. Now, here's another project that I want to bring to your attention. It's one of the three that are smaller, but this one is ESG as well. And it's called DOVU. Well, DOVU just partnered with two of the major corporations in India. I'm talking about the Teslas and the BlackRocks of Asia, for basically when you buy a car, primarily electric car, they want to track that car from A to Z all the way to the end of when you recycle that car. So this is a big deal. And guys, it's going to take a long time, and we are crazy early, but DOVU is young, and they just had this major partnership. And India has the biggest population in the world, and you could argue the smartest people on the planet. Definitely one of the most educated societies anywhere. Engineers, and they're getting into blockchain in a big way. This is a big deal. Now, if you want some information, go to their website. It's dovu.earth and check them out. But when you look at the chart, guys, this project launched in the middle or early 2021, and it had a big launch and a pretty good run up to 14 cents. But guys, now it's like 0.001. That is a massive move. Now, that being said, it's high risk, and it's really early. I'm thinking about, throwing some pocket change in there and see what happens, like $100, $500 max. But it's a project you should put on your radar. And the better HBAR does, the more attention this project's going to get. Now, this is one of my favorite AI projects. I highly recommend go to Humans.ai on Hedera and surf around, guys. I'm not going to get into the project, but it's a brand new project, and the chart looks really good. Now, it's just like everything else. It's been beat down. However, this is one of my new theses. I've been looking for projects that haven't experienced a bull run. Well, guys, this was launched at the first of the year. Well, it hasn't experienced a bull run, and that's a pretty healthy chart considering how bad this bear market has been. So I'm looking to stack some of heart, and that's the symbol, or whatever you want to call it. But it's called Humans.ai, and the symbol is HEART. Go take a look at it, guys. Now, another popular project that I think is Saucerswap. It's on Hedera. It's basically their DEX for like staking and things like that. I highly recommend go to their website and surf around. And if you look at the chart, guys, is another project. This thing launched at the end of last year, and it showed some, some pretty positive movement. Even now, it's not doing too bad in this bear market for such a young platform. So that might be something you want to throw some pocket change into, whatever that looks like for you, and see what happens. Because I think as Hedera grows, Saucerswap could be a good investment. Not financial advice, but I'm going to hopefully stack it if it keeps pulling back, maybe swing trade these small projects, something like that. I don't know, but I wanted to bring them to your attention because I truly believe that Hedera is going to dominate. I just watched a podcast with one of the founders or one of the governing board members, and he believes that in 5 years, HBAR will be a top 5 project, and I truly believe that as well. I think it is the best risk reward out there. Right now, it's not going to give you that 50, 100x unless we just luck up. But for the risk reward, I think it's in that number 3 spot. You got Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's the lowest risk as you can get. And then you could argue the fact, in my opinion, that it's HBAR or Quant. So I think that all my research leads me into Hedera. I can't be more excited. I'm not here to shill it. But if you compare any project, guys, to HBAR and you're looking for that better risk reward, HBAR is your project. Because I use that to literally compare any project I want to stack because it's proven itself. It has the adoption, it has the money, it has the team. I'm not in love with the tokenomics, but the good thing about Hedera is when they dump on their community, which happens every day to most projects, they use that money to pay their developers and to grow that ecosystem. And I know this to be true. One of the truths that we can rely on is the hard work and the adoption and the money spent and the new applications that are growing these ecosystems. All that will catch up to the money during the bull run. So I can't be more positive about HBAR. It's probably already one of my biggest bags, but if it's not, it will be. That being said, not here to shill it. Do your own research, but I think if you open your mind and you compare it and you do a deep dive from the source, it keeps leading you into HBAR. That being said, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Share with like-minded people. But either way, guys, come back and be part of this community. Take care.